Even the most desired events have strings attached to them, and she knew in her heart that returning to the land of the living would only be the beginning of a very bitter fight. For a second she forgot what she had been through, all the changes that came with her increasing power, and she was once again the scared child who had tumbled down a set of steps and into a fairy tale-like nightmare. She hadn't asked for any of this. Whatever she had done had been assigned her as part of her birthright, and she had never considered no as an answer to the demands made upon her. Her death had been far more peaceful than her life, but there was still so much for her to do, and there was no other option but to go where she was needed. Mixed feelings about returning to the mess below slowed her footsteps for just an instant. That slight pause was a timely one because it gave her a chance to see something she might have missed in her initial haste to return to the worlds. At first, she saw a flash, then the small spark became a large square, finally enlarging to show itself as a shiny green door a short distance below them. That had to be it. The exit door. Her eyes locked in on the wavering portal. She stared at it thoughtfully, wondering what was on the other side. There was no guarantee where they would re-enter the worlds, and once there, they would have to find the owner of the voice that had been calling to them. She knew a lot of things, but there was still so much she couldn't predict, and that bothered her a bit. Maybe she needed to think this through a bit longer. But there was one soul among them who showed no hesitation about leaving death behind and returning to the worlds, and he urged their progress toward the exit, breaking her out of her initial moment of inertia and into rapid flight. "That's the way out." James' excited cry filled her head, while he moved several feet ahead of her. His thoughts of seeing Deirdre again sounded loudly among the three of them. It took very little time to reach the door at the speed they were moving. The warmth that flowed from it promised a welcoming return to all they held dear. Despite her conviction that this was where she was meant to go, Sarah couldn't help but think of the last time she attempted to move back into the world after she had been told she could not. It had not been a very pleasant experience. Her deceased father had indicated that it was possible to come back from death, but she chose to try a lot sooner than she should have. At that time it was good to not have a body to permanently damage. Withered flesh was all fine and good when it wasn't real. That could be fixed, but the pain had been excruciating all the same. Would this time really be different? Raising her hand experimentally, she steeled herself for the pain that went with trying to leave an area that death had assigned her to.